Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking another look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. It's really cool stuff, actually. This is happening pretty close to what we expected because when I sent out my most recent update, of course, for this coin or prediction, however you look at it, it's essentially kind of painting the picture here that we had a falling wedge plus head and shoulders pattern. Okay, so we had the head and shoulders there. The right shoulder was breaking down into the support level, which is a volume profile range, roughly 26,000. And then we saw the price working its way up and continuing higher. And as we can kind of see here, the price definitely worked very similar to what we're expecting, just a little sooner than anticipated, right? In other words, bounced off the support range here, which is this volume support. If you look at the slightly larger time frame, you can see 26,000 is holding strong. Price comes up, retests this Fibonacci retracement level of 26,870, pulls back and then ramps up again. So there's a good chance, once again, as I mentioned before, that we're going to see 27,500 retested and potentially broken to hit that 28,000 range. We'll have to reevaluate when we get there, of course, because there's some resistances coming up. But just note here that outside of this little range here, we have a decent amount of fair value to be captured as well. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. Last thing I do also want to highlight is, of course, some high block capital data here, some important things that we want to recognize. And just before we do, I do want to say shout out to our community members here. Thanks again to everyone who's jumping in there, helping out. We got some really awesome new members. Jules 1010, greatly appreciate you. Of course, Alexandru, as always, definitely appreciate you as one of my stronger admins that are more active admins. And then of course we have Chef too. He's pretty cool too. We're just having some fun, enjoying some profits there, and it's really cool. Again, congrats to my community members here for comp trade here recently. Nice little 40% in 14 days. It's kind of the relative standard here recently. We're getting 20% in 4 days, 20% in 10 hours. Majority of these trades are doing fairly well. While we did have to cancel one of our trades yesterday, of course, that was just going crazy. We basically shorted the top and it kept going. So it's just, hey, it happens sometimes, right? You got to kind of take your wins with your losses, but key takeaway here is that we're winning a lot more than we're losing. That's the cool thing. So let's talk about high block capital and work our way down with the charts, okay? So first things first, we got to recognize that there's a lot of liquidations levels here in the range that the price action is at right now. Okay, so we got a decent amount of liquidation levels at about 27,400. I'm rounding up a little bit. 27.4 is that strong amount of liquidation level, okay? And then just above that, of course, we got 27.5, 27.7, 27.9. These are all a lot of areas that shorts are hedged at, that they're going to get liquidated if the price comes up to that level, okay? And most of those are probably somewhere in the range of 5, 10, 25x leverage, okay? So the reason why that's important to recognize is because if the price comes up to this next level, just say 27.5, it's going to keep running to 28,000. There's a great chance of that based on liquidation. Similar story down below, but I would say it's much further off. We have a strong amount of liquidation levels, roughly at about 25.5. Okay, so 25.5 to 27.5 is that range, and we're getting really close to that 27.5. We can see, of course, here a lot of shorts are getting liquidated, so longs are essentially in profit, for lack of better terms. We can also see, of course, whale versus retail data. Whales are overly active. Big surprise. Prices move in all sorts of different ways, and we see, of course, them more active. So let's take a quick look here at open interest, just quickly see where the longs are leveraged. And just as per usual, kind of they're obviously lower in price action right now because they bought low and planning to maybe sell high, but we can see here, right, second most large amount of accumulation, about 26,800. So 26.8 would be a level in which they are accumulating, and just below, when it comes to shorts, we got some shorts that are obviously also at the 26,800 mark. They're expecting 27,000 to hold, which it hasn't so far. But again, time will tell. So I wouldn't jump the gun too early and say that we're fully bullish right now. But I do think a 27.5 to 28,000 range will likely be tested here soon. Okay, that just makes sense based on what we see here so far. Let's quickly look at the last 7 days worth of trading and see what the amount of liquidation levels are here for that. And if we kind of zoom in, we can kind of see here, we got the most amount of liquidation levels, once again, 25,800, 25.3, an approximate 25,500. Then, of course, we got a lot of liquidations that occurred right at 27,000 even and 27.2. And we have now some liquidation levels at about 27.5. So really what that just tells us here is that we're in a position where there's a lot of liquidation below us, more so than above us, but also a lot above us in the immediate future, when we looked at that most recent time frame. So the long story short here is that 28,000 would be a gold mine to hit if we were to come up that high, because in the last, this is what, roughly 1 month's worth of look back, we can see the largest amount of liquidation levels at 28,300. So we get a wick up to 28,000, it could very well continue to 29. Okay, so I would be very careful shorting Bitcoin at this exact moment. While it does look juicy, I would wait until we hit 28 or 29,000 as a possibility for a better short opportunity. Okay, so just something to kind of think about there. So that's where we're at there for the larger kind of the back end data. Let's take a look at the daily and see what's going on here. So just to touch on this, of course, we can see as per usual, and this is a pretty decent look back here. We're looking back all the way through to April, so about 6 months. We can see that 26,000 is the lowest point there in which we had the most amount of volume. Okay, so that's a positive sign. But there's a decent amount of volume accumulation between 26,000 and 27,000. So all in all, there is a pretty significant gap between right in the 28,000 range roughly, but the 26 to 27,000 is a strong volume support. So we have that going for us there. If we take a look, of course, at the moving averages, let's go ahead and see where we're at here now. We are still below the 200 as per usual, but we broke officially above the daily, the 50-day SMA. So if you take a look at the 50-day SMA, it's working its way down, and all in all, looking very, very good in that sense. We want a closure today above 27,000 just to be safe, but more importantly, right around 26.7 as a rough estimate there. That's right where that little line is there for us. So to me, ultimately, I think a closure about 27,000 will be perfect. That would give us a good potential chance to continue higher, because we do have this ascending trend working for us as well, where the price action is coming up, and we're looking very decent. Okay, so key takeaway here is we're above the 50 and the 20-day SMA. Those are two very important moving averages. We're over 50 on the RSI, as well as a nice convergence type of bounce. Just know, once again, 20,000 potential resistance level there with that 200-day SMA. So to me, the daily looks fantastic. This tells me, or leads me to believe, that we're going to start seeing some altcoins start to surge here soon. Just be mindful that, of course, this price could pull back, but these are all very good signs on the daily, which technically hasn't closed yet. 4 hour, just to summarize, we're testing 70 on the RSI. Price action is coming up there to reject, and it would make sense because we have a lot of volume here at this range. It's somewhat of a resistance level. I think we do have some liquidity too just above, so we need to be mindful of that. Just bear in mind too, though, that we do have some fair value right here in the range of about 26,600 to 27,000. So it would make sense for us to see the price pull back and maybe bounce off that ascending trend or that descending trend line, just like we saw here a few days ago, or yesterday rather, when the price action wicked up and wicked right back down. It hasn't done that yet, but a main reason why is because we have a lot of volume in here, if you will, and it's very, very positive. Okay, so we got a lot more volume coming in here today than we did yesterday, and that's ultimately going to allow this to sustain. So the 4 hour also looks very, very good. There's no overextension, nothing massive. We're looking pretty decent there. Let's check quickly for the hourly and see if there's any overextension whatsoever here, and then kind of call it a day here. We are technically overextended on the daily, or correction, the hourly rather, which basically just implies that we could see a pullback. Now, if we do see a pullback, the common retracement level is the most recent high. In other words, if you kind of pull out some Fibonacci retracement levels here, 0.5 on Fibonacci is a more common characteristical location for the price to pull back. So my speculation is if we do get a pullback, we're going to see that fair value gap at 26.7 filled, and then a leg up from there. So it should do one of these. I'll put this on our playout chart here, of course, on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. Everything is all linked down below, of course, if you want to kind of join on over there, because yes, we have a lot of good resources and opportunities, but most of my playout charts kind of let you know what I'm thinking is going to happen next, and I'll put that up there as well. But there's no doubt that we're at a 9 on TD sequential, overextended. Unless we see a short squeeze, we shouldn't experience the price moving much further right now. But I think in the next couple of days, today and tomorrow specifically, we will see some type of retest at 27.5, 28,000. Keep in mind, if we don't retest that level by the weekend, we'll have to consolidate throughout the weekend. Things can get a little dicey sometimes, so be careful holding trades going into the weekend. We try to discontinue our day trades throughout the weekend just because it doesn't make a ton of sense. You try not to hold overnight if you don't have to. Again, those are available through our premium group here, of course, as well. Everything's linked here as a as a community member, of course. Jump on over there, get engaged. Even if you're not a premium member and you're not benefiting from those signals, that's perfectly fine. Get to know the community. It's a really awesome group. We all learn and grow together, and it's been a fantastic experience. I can tell you, I started the Discord a couple years ago, and it's been really, really awesome. And even though I've been trading for about 20 years, I've never been able to actually experience what I have been experiencing in the last couple of years with helping people more hands-on, being interactively part of their lives. And it's a really rewarding process. So thanks again to my members for that. Again, if you have questions or requests for certain coins you want me to go ahead and cover, everything's linked here as well. Our Discord is a very good community. But just know we do have a Telegram and Twitter, of course, also Twitter X rather, and that's all there too. So I look forward to working with you, I guess, is the bottom line. Thanks so much for watching and all your support. If you have comments, feel free to leave them down below. Let me know your thoughts. What are you thinking here? What are we going to do? Things are looking pretty decent on the overall sense here for Bitcoin. Do you think it's going to sustain, or do you think it's going to pull back? Excited to hear your thoughts. Thanks again. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.